Hey everyone! Today is the final piece of the puzzle that is the vector, the shot detect function. Turns out it is much easier to understand than the main algorithm. You might say it is something like a regular shots algorithm, but you are allowed to act only a split second after the actual shot happened. So let's break it down, and we'll have covered pretty much all there is to know about the mechanics of vector. On the first look, it might be quite daunting in the context of a whole slew of settings, another checkbox that I don't know what to do with. But actually, it is helpful to view it not as an add-on or extension to the main premise, but as a simplification and almost a whole new evolutionary branch. It uses the infrastructure of the vector, but it is not looking for patterns, as surprising as it may sound. Essentially, it is looking at each individual frame in isolation and judging whether it contains a shot and a rollback. That's it. Therefore, with detect shot enabled, anything that has to do with multiple frames becomes completely irrelevant. Time frame, border ranges, adaptive distance. So you can completely ignore all of these and instead focus on what remains. As with the main vector, there are two distinct steps. Step 1 is defining a shot event, and step 2 is deciding what to do with it. In defining a shot event, we focus mainly on these things. A shot, as we know, is a rapid, dramatic price movement in a very short amount of time. How short is determined by frame size. The default of 0.2 seconds is pretty solid. If you want more straight, vertical shots, you'd make it smaller, say 0.1 seconds. And if you're okay with slightly sloped price movements, you'd make it bigger. I wouldn't go above 0.5 seconds though, and only for larger distances at that. Speaking of distance, the minimum shot size for the algorithm to detect is taken care of by the minimum spread size field. Pretty simple. If you set it at 1%, the algo will ignore any movement smaller than that, and will accept any movement of 1% or above. The shot size itself is taken simply as the spread size within the frame. Now the important part. Here is where you select the direction of the shot to look for, and also the minimum required rollback percentage, where 0% means that the price exited the frame at the peak of the shot, and 100% means that by the end of the frame, the price fully returned to what the algorithm sees as the base of the shot. This is probably the most important piece in deciding what to do after the shot later in step 2. The minimum trades and minimum volume still function as the usual additional filters, but in my view, they are of lesser importance for shot detect. So, the bare bones basics to shape a shot and produce a trigger are frame size, shot size, direction, and rollback percentage. Moving on to step 2. The mechanics of order placement are similar to regular vector. You can refresh your memory by watching this video. Yet, there are a few distinctions. A major one is that, unlike regular vector, shot detect will never place an order inside the current frame. It necessarily waits for the frame to close, and only then decides whether or not to place orders. That's why earlier I said that you can act only a fraction of a second after the shot, and you can never get into the shot while it happens. Max orders and order frequency still have an effect. The difference is that you'll get only one order per shot. Multiple orders are possible if there are multiple shots in a row, up to the specified maximum number of orders. And no matter how numerous or how frequent the shots are, orders will not be placed sooner than the specified order frequency. Order lifetime works exactly the same and is equally as important as in regular vector. Also, special attention must be paid to the correlation of the selected direction of shot detect and the order size, as obviously placing a 5% buy order on the upshot is significantly different from placing a 5% sell order under the same conditions. So, when choosing an order distance, remember that a buy order is always measured from the bottom of the frame, and a sell order is measured from the top of the frame. And don't forget that the take profit is measured in exactly the same way, and it better be greater than the order distance. This brings us to, what in the world do I do with all these detected shots? To that, my friends, I have no definitive answer yet. I've been trained to observe the conditions prior to shots so that I could use the shots algos, but never have I cared much about what happens after the shot. It is conceivable that different things tend to happen after shots with different rates of rollback. I have to retrain my mind to pay attention to post-shot activity rather than pre-shot. For now, I have a few rough sketches of ideas though. First and most obvious of all, shot detect provides a very painless way of gauging shot activity across coins, especially with emulation. The idea is to set up a detect algorithm for, let's say, shots greater than 1% that roll back at least 40%. And then watch your reports for coins that suddenly become active. To make sure every trigger does get into your reports, you set up your order distance and take profit in a way that guarantees a trade. We don't care about the results at all here. All we care about is to have each trigger produce a line in the reports. You might also want to set up a baseline detect algo with the same settings, except it detects 0% rollback. Then, in your reports, you compare the total number of shots detected by your 0 rollback algo versus your 40% rollback algo to see how consistent the rollbacks are on this coin at this time. Based on that, you throw together a shots algo for whatever distance you feel is adequate, and there you go. You don't have to watch graphs of all coins or watch market live. You just have to monitor your reports and get in early while the action is still happening. Come to think of it, this would actually work quite well as the basis for the trading challenge from this video. Next idea. You may assume that if a high rollback shot happened, there may be another one to about the same level. So, you set up your order to the tip of the shot on the same side and wait for the second shot. Just make sure to use a sensible order lifetime. Another idea is you might decide to get into slow, gradual rollbacks or corrections. I've explained this idea in this video. Albeit without the vector, the setup was quite convoluted. To put it simply, if a large buy shot initially rolls back only slightly, you may expect a continued gradual correction, so you open a buy position as low as you can, and then chase the price with a trailing stop as far as you can. I had another idea where if a large sell shot does not roll back at all, you could be in a pump phase, so maybe you could go with the trend and buy. The problem with futures is that in this case the mark price very often lags behind big shots for at least 4 to 5 seconds. So then without a mark price filter, you are liable to be liquidated immediately. And with a mark price filter, it is unlikely you'd get an order placed at all. So this one needs more work. Alright, stop. Pause it right there. That's me from the editing room. No, This was a horrible idea. Since you can't tell the algo to ignore shots that did roll back a bit, you end up buying immediately at market while the shot is still pulling back, with higher fees no less, and then you get trapped in this pattern. Maybe a big enough stop loss might save this, but that is way more risky. As described, this is not good. Let's finish the video. Other than those, I'm pretty sure there are more applications that I can't think of right now. So, bottom line, shot detect is not just an option that you can leave on or off for the same algo and expect similar results. The state of this checkbox transforms the algorithm into a totally different beast and has far-reaching consequences across all of the settings and the trading situations you are trying to cater to. So all your shot detect algos should be essentially treated pretty much separately from all your regular vector pattern algos. Now you know the whole story.